I thought they shot my parents. That was the trembling voice of Jennifer Pan, the girl known throughout the community as a good child, a good student, the perfect daughter in the eyes of her Vietnamese immigrant parents in Canada. But just a few days later, Jennifer became the prime suspect in a horrific murder. The victims were her own parents. How could a perfect girl plan to kill her own parents? And why? This is more than just a murder. This is a story about lies, pressure, and a fear of failure that has been suppressed for too long. If you want to know the truth behind these seemingly unbelievable cases, subscribe to our channel today. We tell true stories, where good and evil are sometimes just a lie away. Jennifer Pan was born in 1986 in Ontario, Canada, the child of a Vietnamese immigrant couple, Mr. Bitch Ha and Mrs. Han Pan. Since childhood, Jennifer was raised by her parents extremely strictly. No dating, control of study time, no going out at night. She had to learn piano, ballet, get good grades, and was expected to become a doctor or pharmacist. But behind the good grades and innocent smile is a fake life she created to escape the pressure. On the evening of November 8, 2010, police received a 911 call from Jennifer in a state of panic. Someone broke into the house, they tied me up, and shot my parents.
Where are you, ma'am?
Please just help me out. I don't know where my parents are.
Ma'am, calm down. What?
Some people broke into our house and they just showed all his money.
Okay, ma'am,
Yelling downstairs. Please send help.
ma'am, where are you? What?
Avenue.
Avenue Road.
Yes.
Can you spell the street name for me, please?
Dad? No. You're calling me.
Ma'am. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Ma'am, I need to know your address. Avenue Road, can you please spell?
In Helen Avenue, my dad just went outside screaming.
Ma'am, can you spell the street address for me, please?
H-E-L-E-N. Someone broke in and I heard shots like pops. I don't know what's happening. I'm tied upstairs.
When police arrived, they found her mother, Big, dead at the scene. Her father, Han, had been shot but survived. Jennifer was the only witness alive and the only one uninjured. At first, police believed it was a robbery, but as details emerged, they became suspicious. Why didn't the intruder take any property, but only shot the parents and spared Jennifer?
My mom kept trying to get up, and they kept telling her, sit down. And so I didn't want her to get hurt, so I told her, Mom, sit down.
Take your time. Take your time. All this is very important, so take your time.
They kept all the lights off on the main floor. The only time there was light was when they opened the fridge door to see if they could find where my mom's purse was.
Right. What about your dad?
He drives a Mercedes and he loves that baby.
At first, Jennifer cried, trembled, and recounted the details of the robbery. But the more they asked, the more her testimony lacked logic.
They're the ones turned over the bed to find some more cash in my mom's bedside table, in which then they dragged me down the stairs and made me kneel at the bottom, telling me to face down on the floor. My mom kept trying to get up, and they kept telling her, sit down. And so I didn't want her to get hurt, so I told her, Mom, sit down. They were trying to find her wallet. They kept pushing her down onto the chair. As I was next to the stairwell, they took me up the stairs to show them where my father's wallet was. You lied. You lied to us. You lied to us. And then I heard two pops. My mom screamed. I yelled out for her. And then they did one more before they left. And then one of the guys said, we have to go now. It's been too long. And then they ran out the door. I whipped up the phone and I called 911. But I still hadn't heard anything from my mom, and all I could hear was my dad running on the street. I was just on the phone with the secretary, or the operator, and I begged her not to leave me alone. And I didn't get to see my dad at all until before I left the hospital. The only thing I can remember was he had dreadlocks.
He had dreadlocks. So can you describe his race to me?
He was black.
The first guy you encountered seemed to be telling everyone what to do? This person, this third guy who you're now describing, do you see him ever? Only as a shadow? Describe his voice to me.
Just a very, very slight accent. A Guyanese or Jamaican accent.
Now, if you were lying on this, as a part of this whole process that I explained, telling us fictitious information, it comes back. Now the records can also be used against you. If you're telling the truth.
When investigating the camera, phone data, and her ex-boyfriend's testimony, the police discovered Jennifer had planned to hire someone to kill her parents. Not for money, but because she wanted freedom to be with her boyfriend.
Because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
So
That day was a lot.
you're right.
And I've been scattered, and some bits and pieces are here, and some pieces aren't here, and I'm just...
So, the best you can.
Jennifer looked sideways, blinked a lot when talking about the break-in. When talking about her parents, she didn't really cry. There was a moment when she tried to act her emotions by holding her head and saying, "I was tied up," but still moved her hands naturally.
Again, it was before noon.
Before noon, okay.
I'm
Do you remember speaking to anyone during the day on your phone or on Facebook? We know you made the phone call, but questions are going to obviously raise is that if my hands are bound and I'm against the railing, how do I talk to a 911 operator?
The police were suspicious of her and asked her to stand up and repeat the 911 call while tied up, but she was very successful in this detail.
Okay, so clinically, this is now a clinical demonstration. Just stand up, focus in on how you did it.
around the banister,
Yes?
but my hands were bound together.
So your hands bound together, and this is the arm that's the strings wrapped around against the banister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now how can you get to the phone? And how do you make the phone call? So we may rely on you heavily until we can speak to your father. Okay? So don't be afraid. If you've told the truth, if you had some involvement in this, then I'm just saying all the rules. If you didn't have anything to do with this, and you're telling me the truth, so we may rely on you heavily until we can speak to your father. The last thing you should be afraid of is anything. If you've told the truth and you've been truthful through this whole process.
Jennifer wasn't cold-blooded, but she was someone who lived with an intense fear of failure. She had created a whole life of lies, lying to her parents about going to college, forging her transcripts, and even planning a murder scenario to be free to love. This was typical behavior of pathological lying repeatedly as a self-defense mechanism. Jennifer often doesn't say "my parents," but uses "they" as if separating the emotion from the action.
I hid it from my parents at first. They didn't agree with me having a boyfriend.
Okay.
And once they found out, they didn't like the fact that he was of mixed race. He was the person who just filled an empty void for me. So it felt that a part of me was missing. When they first told me to stop seeing him, stop talking to him, I felt like a part of me was missing. I wanted to.
Even though she looked miserable, she still had an emotionally incorrect expression, like a wry smile.
And somehow they saw each other, I guess?
Oh, my mother saw me.
Okay, that gave it away. What happened next?
As she recounted the robbery, her eyes darted around and she clutched her chest unnaturally.
So you hear him talk, and describe his silhouette to me, what you see of it.
All I could see is that he's slim and tall. A stern voice?
Stern, but not screaming, not angry.
Finally, faced with overwhelming evidence, from text messages, phone records, to the testimony of her ex, Jennifer broke down. She admitted to hiring 3 men to kill her parents for 10,000 Canadian dollars.
All right. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm here today, okay, is that I'm an expert, okay, in what we call truth verification. I talk to thousands of people, okay, and I basically know when somebody's not being straightforward with me.
He had just threatened her. And he had been so proud of the cutting-edge technology the police had. He had even made up a story about an infrared satellite that was like an X-ray beam that would penetrate the house, see everything that happened that night.
And basically, if people are moving around in a house, it's like an X-ray, okay? And basically, we're able to tell, you know, are those movements, are those actions, that number of people consistent with the story that we've been told? Because you know who was in that house that night. You do, Jen. There's no question about that, okay? There's no question about it, okay? Because you're involved in this, okay? You cannot deny that, okay? You cannot deny that. We know now, okay? Because at the end of the day, you're a good person. I know that. You've got a good heart, okay? In this case, though, you've made mistakes. You're sorry, aren't you? They were supposed to take you? Why? Okay. So they were supposed to take the whole family out?
No, just me.
What went wrong?
I don't know. You said that you were on my side. And I was...
Okay, I am on your side, Jen. Okay? Need a drink of water or anything? What's that? I do have to go and speak to these officers, but I'll come back and speak to you.
Jennifer was sentenced to life in prison without parole for 25 years in 2015. Her 3 co-defendants were also sentenced. Her father, who was lucky enough to survive, cut off ties with his daughter and lived in seclusion, carrying his unspoken grief. Jennifer Pan, a girl who was once praised as a good student and a good daughter, ended up becoming a murderer with the most brutal plan, hiring someone to kill her biological parents. When a child is not allowed to fail, when control goes beyond the limit, are we creating time bombs?